I was fully intending to make this video outdoors. It's been lovely in London for the last week and a bit, and it's another gorgeous day. I've got a park nearby, but work got the better of me and I really didn't get a chance to go out and do it, so here I am doing it indoors. I'll try and get out and about, especially when I'm away next week for the summer, and do more videos in different locations, etc. But for today, you'll have to bear with me. So what is it I'm talking about today? Yes, I want to talk about the use of weight machines or resistance machines, however you like to call them, and their limiting ability to change your body, to change the definition, the shape, weight loss, all that kind of stuff. I work out in gyms Monday to Friday every single day without fail. I keep myself healthy, so I tend not to need to take time off. So I get to see a lot of what goes on, and people watch all the time, and I see a lot of people on these machines, and more to the point, I see people on these machines for extended periods of time. So I might go away and do 3 or 4 exercises, not using these machines, I should add, and I might come back to an area where I saw someone using the machine, and they're still on the same machine. So curling away, extending away, or whatever it might be, and how many repetitions are they doing? What is the effectiveness of that way of doing things? So I see that, and then what I also see is I might go back the next day, and because I tend to go at the same time of day if possible, I see the same kind of people or the same people, and sure enough, the people that I see are on the same machines again the next day. So it's kind of like, well, it is in fact what they're doing. They're going around some set circuit or just some even perhaps random series of exercises on these machines and just doing the same thing every day. And I have to commend first of all people and congratulate people for making an effort to go to the gym, because that's the first obstacle that I tend to have, is getting people who are ready to work out to actually make that effort. So great if you're doing that, but there is a more effective way to get the results that you want, and it isn't through sitting on these machines and doing these resistance exercises. I see two main problems with this in a kind of roundabout way that everyone can relate to and understand, and that is, one is, people spend their whole day typically sedentary, so sitting at a desk or in an office or whatever it might be, or commuting to and from work on a bus, taxi, train even, or just generally have a lack of physical activity in their lifestyle anyway. So what they then do is go into a gym, which is then meant to be their way of, countering that or getting their body active and moving, and then they go and sit down again. Albeit they're doing some kind of movement, but largely speaking, their bodies are disengaged and not having to do anything. So that strikes me as being a very odd thing to do, and something that I can't quite understand why people haven't cottoned onto, to be honest with you. So that's one thing. Another thing that kind of follows on from that is that I see people on these machines, and they're kind of like not really present to what they're doing. They're just going through the motions. They might be chatting to a friend or texting or whatever, looking out the window, and they're not present to what they're doing. They're not actively engaged, mentally focused on what they're doing. And it should be pretty clear to anyone who wants to achieve anything in life, not necessarily just weight loss and increased health and vitality, that you have to give it your focus and your attention. You've got to nurture that and really take responsibility for that. And I don't see how that can happen if you're fundamentally not even really paying attention to what you're doing, just allowing the action to happen. And that's one of the main criticisms I have of these machines, is that you can just disengage because you're just going through an axis of movement, rotation, push, pull, whatever, and can just allow that movement to happen and continue for however many repetitions or minutes you're going to be there. So they're the two main broad problems I have with these machines, and you can even break it down a little deeper and look at the fact that these machines tend to only work or isolate a muscle group, and your muscles aren't designed to work like that. You can look at the fact that you're supported by these machines, so you're not having to balance or coordinate your own body or work against gravity, and all these things obviously happen in your everyday life to all extent. If you're not sitting down at your desk, you are moving in between offices, or you know, you have a life outside of your office or wherever it might be. So you will be doing these movements that don't translate to what you might be doing in the gym if you're sitting in these machines. And it should be clear that these two main factors really don't support any kind of dramatic or fundamental change of the body. In fact, they can cause more problems than they solve. And you know, when you look at the alternative, and the alternative to me is getting out of these machines and using your body, moving your body, using free weights, using other bits of equipment that mean you're not attached to these fixed machines. So medicine balls, kettlebells, Swiss balls, dumbbells, barbells, anything that allows you to move your body freely, unsupported by these machines, requires so much more. It requires more muscles to work simultaneously, which in turn will require more energy on your behalf. So you become more energy efficient. Requires you to coordinate your body into a series of movements. You become spatially aware. You learn how to use your body in conjunction to the environment you're in. And the very fact that you're using all these muscles together is hugely demanding. You know, I challenge anyone to do, I don't know, what did I do say? A set of walking lunges, walking down one way and reverse walking lunge back the other way, and not find it taxing. Whereas the alternative would be to sit in the chair and do leg extension and leg curls, and you know, to what intents and purposes, your heart rate, your cardiovascular system hasn't really elevated to any degree, let alone the fact that you're not using near enough the same muscles that you would be in that free moving walking lunge. So that's an example of what taking your body out of that structure can do. And yeah, it does. You know, I understand that, and it's a key point to make, that people might be using these machines as a means to get their body moving because they don't know how to work out any other way. They may be novices or just not very comfortable in that gym environment, so they just rather just get on with what they can do with the help of the machines that are there. And while I can understand that, I don't find that as an excuse to sticking with that long term. You know, your goal is your goal, and you shouldn't let anything come in between that. So my advice to you, if you're using these machines and you know, you've been telling yourself or even other people that you're doing this because, you know, it's the only thing you know how to do, and that doesn't have to be that way. You know, if you're using a gym of any kind of size, especially if it's a chain of gyms, they'll have professionals working there, gym instructors, and it should be their job to devise programs and consult with members on what they're looking for. And you should be able to go to them and ask them for help and come up with a program together that targets what you want, but in a functional way, in a way that uses your body in a complete integral way of moving, rather than these fixed machines. So the things that I talked about earlier with all that equipment that is then available to you. That would be my most recommended thing for you to do. But you know, there are other resources. YouTube itself, there are some outstanding professionals on there, some reputable professionals who spend more of their time speaking about exercises and demonstrating exercises and how to do them and the benefits, etc. That's not really what I'm here to do, at least not at this point in time. So yeah, search YouTube, read articles in magazines, in online. There are so many different avenues available to you to be able to educate yourself to a point where you can go and try these things. And exercise and moving your body is all about experience. You know, you don't have to be perfect at things. You know, I deal with clients on a daily basis, and when I take on a new client, predominantly they have no experience whatsoever, and I train people in their homes, so I don't rely, not even that I would, but I certainly don't have those machines available to me. So I go with these types of equipment that I've outlined: dumbbells, medicine balls, Swiss balls, resistance bands, etc., etc. Getting creative and essentially engaging the client in what they're doing, because that, to me, is the only way you're going to get success. So by doing the things that require more of your body, work more muscles simultaneously, so therefore you expend more energy and it's more taxing, but it's more time efficient, so you're using your time better. But then also requires you to be present and think, because, you know, going back to my example, if ever you get to the point where you're clued up or experienced enough to try this, A walking lunge, you try not being present to where you put your foot down in relation to the space you're in, especially then if you're going into a reverse walking lunge. It's impossible, you cannot not be present, and that is a huge element, as I've outlined, to the success that you're looking for. So do that for yourself, and you really can take your exercise to a level that really does define your body to a certain degree, especially in conjunction with everything I've spoken about already and I will continue to speak about. Don't let your exercise just become habitual. Get in there and embrace the idea that it can be fun. Use it as a form of play. Go in there and do some exercise. Get your body moving. If you spend 1 hour a day in the gym and you spend 45 minutes of that hour on these machines that as I've said, don't do much for you. If you take half of that time and do some form of free weight program that's devised for you or with you, I guarantee you the quality of that will far outstrip anything you can do in the 45 minutes or more on the machines that are in these gyms. So yeah, that's my advice to you. Take it on board and ask people. Get out there and get involved with your exercise and essentially claim responsibility for the results that you want to achieve with your exercise. Incidentally, I just want to clear up that I do post articles to these videos and they're found in the comment box below, so I just wanted to make that clear that perhaps there's more detail in an article or you prefer to read and watch or whatever it is. So I do both, and you can find that, as I said, below this video here. There'll be a link for that article and all the other articles I've written along with the videos that you can find on YouTube. Thanks for watching, and as I said, really claim responsibility for what you're doing, and you can go a long way to really changing the way your workouts work for you in a short space of time.